You wanna fly? You should just say that. Here, let me help you. This guy represents everything that's the worst in men trying to get into a relationship with women. I swear, if I would met him in person, no. Not gonna start another review from negatives. How about I break that trend and maybe talk about something more positive first? I'll save Featherbang for later. For now, let's appreciate our new Big Mac ship, SugarBelle, and the best and most important aspect of it. ChiliMac, MarbleMac and FloraMac are all sunken ships. I mean, come on, Chili was never a real fake unless they were under the influence of love potion. Marble? They might as well be relatives, that's all the dopes. And Fluttershy? Well, it came out of nowhere, brownish ships are never canon. Okay, maybe I'm beating a dead horse, no pun intended. But outside of joking about it, I'm not a shipper. I'm not even a fan of shipping seriously. And some people were taking those ships too serious. Come on guys, there never was some serious affection between them. Even with Marble. I believe it was more of a natural reaction to conversation with cute shy girl, especially if the guy is also a shy type. And it was mainly Pinky who paired them together. Pretty much every previous ship was lacking chemistry. SugarBelle, however, that's pretty much obvious they like each other. At least it was obvious on his side that he has some real crush. Which, by the way, looks like it's the first ever character having a crush in this series. Unless I'm forgetting about somebody. Still, props for the show for another step forward into being more mature. But I also wonder, when and how did they first met? Was it just an accident that Big Mac was sent to deliver her some apples and then the spark ignited? Also, it's interesting that the show decided to ship Big Mac with a new character that we don't know much about. Once again, it looks like it's going against fandom ships. But I personally don't mind it. This is a ship that I can support because it's a genuine one, where both sides have strong feeling toward each other. Even SugarBelle had some feelings to Big Mac, although it wasn't as obvious. But you could see there is something between them. I might not be good at reading body language, but the beginning gave us some hints that she like Big Mac, and ending couldn't be more clear in that matter. So who cares about the fact that the show is shipping him with barely explored character? I now wish to see more of their relationship. For example, how they will solve the biggest problem, the distance between them. But we shouldn't deny the fact that Crusaders did help a bit. Kinda. I appreciate their effort for bringing those two together and the fact that they took the lesson from Hearts and Hooves Day to their heart, and instead of trying to force SugarBelle and Big Mac into love, they were rather pushing them into the right direction. It's a good sign of how much more mature Crusaders are. I like the fact that instead of being delusioned of helping Big Mac, they were actually helping him. What I don't get, did they really need to put Big Mac into all those shenanigans? We've barely got an episode which tackled the topic of CMC growing up and being more mature. And then we're getting this episode in which they thought that the best way to get SugarBelle and Big Mac together is by following advices from Fairy Tail? That's a childish way of thinking if you ask me, even for someone who is in early teens. And it's a 2-episode difference between mature Crusaders and childish Crusaders, where it would still be a problem if that would be a season or 2 difference. Not to mention the situations itself were also a bit too crazy. The first one with the setup robbery would be a stupid risk in real life, but the second? Good thing it's not a real life, otherwise this would be the best scenario that could happen to him. This was a serious violation of personal space, nothing romantic. They made Big Mac look less like a prince and more like a stalking creep. For once, Featherbang's interruptions did something good by saving Big Mac's flank. Yeah, speaking of which, I really don't like this guy. He is the epitome of the guy who is not seriously in love, but rather he is trying to get another lady for his collection. The good-looking type who thinks he can win woman's heart by trying to impress her with some expensive gifts, instead of getting to know each other, trying to get into a relationship by your personality. Pretty much he was trying to buy her love. And on top of that, he was taking advantage of Big Mac and his silly attempts to win SugarBelle's heart with his constant interruptions and getting in his way. And yes, he got a little bit better at the end when he explained himself. But then, when Crusaders pointed him those 3 mares, suddenly not only he was no longer in love with SugarBelle, but also looked like he's going to hit on all of them at once? Nope, sorry, that's something you should never do. It's just not okay. But maybe let's say something more positive before you get some weird conclusions. I don't like the character, but I have to give Vincent Tong props for this role. He really nailed it. It may sound weird, but in my opinion it is tricky to play the role of a jerkish character like this. There is also a bit of a confusion regarding the continuity. On one hand, we have probably one of the best of its nods by mentioning Love Potion. I really had a good laugh at Big Mac in that one scene when the CMC offered their help. But on the other, yes, I've said that I don't like Marble Mac, but still, it is weird that the writer didn't include that, at least as a mention. Unless she recognized this ship should not exist because of possible affinity. Is there anything else? Alright, the musical number. I don't like it, it's cringy, burn it, thank you, bye. You know, this is one of those cases where I initially didn't like the episode, but after rewatching it, it started to grow on me. At this point, I appreciate it for what it is trying to tell us while also being a sort of follow-up to Hearts and Hooves Day. And this time, it done the job better. The first real crush in this series, and it is well done, it feels genuine the whole time. And Big Mac and Sugar Barrel just look cute together, admit it. That's something I would never say about Featherbanks. The whole episode he felt like a typical heartbreaker. Something I'm absolutely against in terms of relationship between man and woman. Between yes and no of this episode, there are also Kirby Crusaders, who are in a weird spot. They are much more mature ever since Hearts and Hooves Day, learning their lesson from that experience, but they also have this child naivety by believing that love stories from fairy tales are true to real life. To summarize those elements, I personally like this episode, but objectively speaking, it's an okay episode. Something to appreciate, but not something to be called my favorite of this season. I'm Shapwit, and let me ask you for something. Don't be like Featherbanks. Thanks for watching.